this room that I'm in right here is my
Yeah.
main room. You
Yeah.
can see, here's my desk, my computer desk,
Mm.
and then my bed has not been made yet. If I had known we were going to show this, I would have made my bed. My
That's
TV is over there on mute right now. I've
okay.
got a couple of comfortable chairs. I've got some dog places for them to stay because they love to sleep with me here in this room, in bed with me or not.
Yeah, yeah. That
And
bed is
then,
beautiful. The bed, the woodwork on the bed is awesome. The frame.
yeah, my bed, I love it.
It's
It was
just,
from a friend I bought from who had a place where he sold kind of antique type
but the
stuff.
big beams, the wooden beams and everything in that room are just spectacular. I just love the look of that. And then it walks right out into your terrace. I mean, that's just unbelievably beautiful. Yes, you got to take us on a tour of your vision through this because you created this whole thing and the garden is just spectacular. And there's your beautiful dog again.
Yes. And here's one of my dogs. She has rearranged all the pillows on this
Wow.
sofa out here
What a beauty.
so that she can have a comfortable place for her to sleep.
I
Yeah.
love it. She's so comfortable.
Yeah.
I would be just like that on that couch if I were looking at that garden. I'd be
And
sleeping.
here's another dog on this on her little sleeping place.
Yeah,
So yeah, this is part of my terrace, and I've got a great big gong here.
I see that. That is beautiful. Just all your chairs, the choice of furniture is it's just so ornate and beautiful. I just love your place, Kate.
Well, come and visit.
I would never leave. So you don't want me to come. You'd be going, hey, Ray, you got to get out. You got to go. You got to go. No, no, I'm just going to sleep with the dogs, stare at the sky in this amazing place that you created. And you rent it. How much do you
Yes.
pay per month to rent this place?
When you rent a place, you pay for the whole rental period. So if
Hmm.
you rent for 2 years, you pay all 2 years up front. It will go up to 30 million a year.
Hmm.
So what is 30 million? I think that's about $1,800 a year.
Okay,
Divided by 12
that's
means,
150.
yep, that's right.
You pay a whole $150 for that
Yeah.
majestic, beautiful, stunning place. Hi, can I ask you a favor? Adventure Freaks is growing, but most of you watching haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy this content or find it helpful, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it really helps us continue to bring you more tips and ideas for living better abroad. All right, so today we're going to head over with my good friend Kate Benzin to the beautiful country of Indonesia. This is our second podcast. Kate, it's great to see you. How you doing?
Same here. Thanks a lot. I'm doing great and I'm happy to be talking to you again.
It look, you look great and the place looks spectacular. So, um, last time, we went through all of the costs of living. We'll do the same again. But let's just start out, Kate, with a little bit of your backstory, where you're from and how you landed in Indonesia.
Okay, I'm from Chicago and I was, I had been a Spanish teacher in Los Angeles for 6 years and I hated teaching. And I had gone back to Chicago and I was bouncing around from one job to another. And I finally went back to school. I already had a bachelor's degree, and I went back to school, got enough courses and everything to have a bachelor's in psychology, and then I started going to grad school. And in my second year, I think it was halfway through, I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to be a psychologist. I'm going to have to stay in one place the rest of my life." You set up a practice And how do you leave your clients? Maybe you go for August, if that's the typical quote unquote vacation time for therapists or whatever. It used to be.
Yeah.
Now it's not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I felt like, how do I go on vacation and how do I do the traveling, the kind of traveling that I want to do? And so I just happened to pick up the Chicago Trib on the weekend, the newspaper, and there was an advertisement for a job overseas. I don't think it even said Indonesia. I didn't know where it was, but you rarely had overseas jobs in the Chicago newspapers.
Yeah.
So I sent my resume in and I got the job. It was only for 3 months. It was December 1982.
Wow.
And I said, well, I can take 1 quarter off school, go to Indonesia, get this bug out of my system there where I think I want to spend time overseas, and come back and finish my doctorate in psychology. Well, I never came back. I've been here ever since.
Feeling confused about where to move abroad, which countries you even qualify for, or what your real options are? You're not alone. This is where most people get stuck, and where they often waste a lot of time and money going in the wrong direction. That's why we offer 2 simple ways to help, depending on what you need. First is the Ideal Destination Finder. It's a personalized assessment that looks at your lifestyle, priorities, and budget, and then shows you your top 3 countries. It's really impressive. It's designed to help you narrow things down, avoid endless research, and reduce the risk of choosing the wrong place. And if you feel like you need more personalized help, you can also book a one-on-one consultation with me. I'll walk you through your situation, clarify which countries make sense for you, which countries you can actually qualify for, and the next steps, so you're not guessing. Both options are easy to find at adventurefreaks.com. Just scroll down and you'll see the consultation with me to the right. Just click it and schedule your consultation. Over here to the left, you'll see the Ideal Destination Finder. Just click it to get started. Links are also in the description below, or you can scan the QR codes on the screen. Now let's get back to the video. So where did you, when you first did this internship or this short job period that
Yeah,
you were over there, where did you
yeah,
land? I mean, where were you working at?
Jakarta. I
In
was
Jakarta.
working for an
Ooh,
American company called Telemedia, and
okay.
yeah, and that job, it could have um, continued, but I had some bad experiences with a woman there who thought I was going after her boyfriend, who was another American employee at the company, and she did. In fact, Vicky's Revenge is one of my very first videos on my YouTube channel, Kate Gypsy, and tells about that story. I don't
Okay.
think she's around anymore, so I don't think gonna get in trouble for saying anything about her. But so when that job ended, the only thing I could do was teach English. I'd been a Spanish teacher, and I swore I'd never teach again. But I wanted to stay. So what did I do? I got a job teaching English. And I said, oh, this is different. Teaching English here is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did that for 15 years. Yeah.
Wow. So when you say it was different, in what way was it different than?
Well, the people I was teaching, mostly I was preparing people, both could upper teenagers and young adults, for the TOEFL test, the test of English as a foreign language,
Yes.
because they wanted to go to school, university usually, in America or Canada or England, Australia, an English-speaking country. And so um, they had to pass this TOEFL test. Nowadays, there's other tests that provide this same kind of thing. But at that time, it was the TOEFL. That
Okay.
was the popular. And so they were very motivated. They wanted to get a good grade on that. It's not a grade, but it's like taking the SATs.
Yeah.
They wanted to get a good score on the
Sure.
TOEFL. And so they were motivated.
Yeah. Which,
So yeah, that was how it was different, at least
okay.
in the And then eventually I ended up working on projects that were usually government employees who were targeted as candidates to go overseas for a master's degree.
Okay.
And so the government would send them to our project 6 days a week. Well, no, 5 days a week, but usually 6, 7, 8 hours a day, just learning English.
Hmm.
And so they were very motivated. So I just always had really good students, you know.
Yeah. No, that's important because when people want to learn, they're great students.
Yeah,
When
right.
they show up to and they're really, really interested in learning, they're
Yeah.
fantastic students. That's the best student you could have. Okay, so fast forward. So 1982, you moved over there, you had this gig, and you were working in Jakarta. And then after the gig was up, what happened? And did you go back to the US and then return?
No, no, no. I just stayed. Yeah, I stayed. And I walked into one of the language schools in Jakarta and they hired me on the spot.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still the same, but at that time, if you were a warm body and you spoke English, you could get a job teaching
Yes.
English.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, I think it's still pretty important all over the world. You can go a lot of places and get jobs pretty quickly. And
Yes.
I did that for 15 years then. And one of my English teaching jobs was in Jogja. And that's how I ended up coming to Jogja instead of Jakarta.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
So
and then I liked it here, and it's not as hustle bustle as Jakarta, so I stayed here.
so you were in Jakarta. How many years were you working in Jakarta?
7 or 8 years, something
Oh,
like that.
okay, then after that, you moved to what you called Jojo. What's the actual name of that town?
It's Jogjakarta, but
Jojakarta.
it's not connected to Jakarta,
Okay.
even though it sounds like, oh, it must be a suburb of Jakarta. No, it's
Yeah.
not.
And what
It's about
island in Indonesia is that on?
Java.
Okay, the island of Java. Okay.
Yes.
Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Sometimes you'll see it spelled with a Y. Sometimes you'll see it spelled with a J, but it's always pronounced with the J sound, Jogjakarta.
Jojakarta. Okay.
Even when you see it spelled with a Y, you still say Jogjakarta.
Jojakarta. Yeah, because I see it spelled with the Y, so I'm
Yeah,
always saying Yogya, but
yeah, no,
Jojakarta.
yeah,
Okay. So now, okay. So then you're 7 years later after 1982. So it's about 1989, and you're in Yogyakarta teaching, right?
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
you just stay there and you never go back.
Well, I went back for visits, and eventually, when I decided I'd had enough teaching English, and I decided I wanted to become a tour director, I went back to the States to take a course in how to be a tour director.
Okay.
And so I was in the States for a couple years because I needed to get established with a company before they would see me living in Indonesia. They need
Hmm.
companies who were going to hire me weren't going to hire me if I lived in Indonesia.
Right.
So I think a couple years at that point, and that was like 1987, I think, by that
Okay.
time.
Wow.
No, no, sorry, 1996.
Okay.
Sorry. And so
Okay.
but then once I got established with a tour company, and I was doing international tours in Spain, France, Holland, then I could live anywhere in the world because you always have to fly to the originating city of the tour.
Uh-huh.
So I was able then to move back to Indonesia, which is where I wanted to be.
Okay.
So
So take us back. So then you moved back to Indonesia. Did you go back to Yogyakarta right away?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So then you had to find a place to live. Were you living in the place you're living in now, or did you start out in something?
Well, no, actually, I happened to meet some people, an Indonesian woman with a Dutch husband, and they said, "Oh, we're building a house." Um, I said, "Well, what's happening to the house that you're renting right now?" And she said, "Well, he'll want to rent it again." And it was actually further up this mountain that I live on, further up the volcano that I live on. And uh, it was a small house, and the owner rented it to me. And then, of course, I got a couple of dogs, and I said, I need a bigger place with a yard, with a big yard. I had a very tiny yard in that house.
Hmm.
And so I had a friend who started looking around, and we looked at a lot of different places, before I chose this one. And in fact, I don't know if I ever told you this before, but um, this house, when I came to look at it, it was a real dump. And in fact, this house is not what I would call made of good quality materials. It's an old house, and it was made by villagers.
Hmm.
And so I asked a couple friends to come and take a look. I said, "This is where I'm thinking about renting." And they came over. "Oh, Kate, don't take this place. This is a dump. Keep looking." But I had a vision. I could see what this could be, this place. So what you
It's
see now is nothing like what it looked like when I first saw it.
yeah. Well,
Um,
the woodwork is just gorgeous, and you have these. The floors are. It's just a beautiful, beautiful house. Describe how big is the house again? How many bedrooms?
well, this room that I'm in right here is my
Yeah,
main room. You
yeah.
can see, here's my desk, my computer desk, and then my bed has not been made yet. If I had known we were going to show this, I would have made my bed. My
That's
TV is over there on mute right now. I've
okay.
got a couple of comfortable chairs. I've got some dog places for them to stay because they love to sleep with me here in this room, in bed with me or not.
Yeah, yeah. That
And
bed is
then,
beautiful. The woodwork on the bed is awesome. The frame.
yeah, my bed, I love it.
It's
It was
just,
from a friend I bought from who had a place where he sold kind of antique type
but the
stuff.
big beams, the wooden beams and everything in that room are just spectacular.
But these posts that you see here,
Yeah,
I can never move my furniture around because those posts confine me on
yeah.
where things can be.
I,
And so this
you know
room
what?
is
I would
so
be
big.
okay with that, Kate, because I just love the look of that. And then it walks right out into your terrace. I mean, that's just unbelievably beautiful. How
Yeah,
many?
no, I
Yeah, you got to take us on a tour of your vision through this because you created this whole thing, and the garden is just spectacular. And there's your beautiful dog again.
yes. And here's one of my dogs. She has rearranged all the pillows on this
Wow,
sofa out here
what a beauty!
so that she can have a comfortable place for her to sleep.
I
Yeah.
love it. She's so comfortable.
Yeah.
I would be just like that on that couch if I were looking at that garden. I'd be
And
sleeping.
here's another dog on her little sleeping place.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is part of my terrace. Um,
Oh, it's just
going out,
breathtaking.
going out. Yes, it is now, believe me. And I've got a great big gong here.
I see that. That is beautiful.
Would you like me to?
Yes.
That's my gong.
Hmm.
And here comes another doggy.
Yeah. How many dogs do you have?
I have six, five
Yes.
with and one Dalmatian.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now you see a bunch of my artwork here.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. That's really, Kate, you are talented. Those are some
well,
terrific paintings.
yeah, this is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. I was going to
Mm,
say that's really brilliant.
yeah,
I love the
there's
vibrant colors as well.
yeah. And this is this table that's covered with with a piece of plastic. Again, I would have I would have cleaned this up if I'd known we were going to walk around and show stuff.
Yeah.
But this is where I put paintings to dry, but it's also where I sit and do my recordings for my videos. I
Yeah.
sit in
Well,
this chair and I have the thing there.
just all your chairs, the choice of furniture is it's just so ornate and beautiful. I just love your place, Kate.
Well, come and visit.
I would never leave. So you don't want me to come. You'd be going, hey, Ray, you got to get out. You got to go. You got to go. No, no, I'm just going to sleep with the dogs. Stare at the sky. Can you take us through the garden? Oh, you want to show us the other back? You got to show us, yeah, your.
Oh, well, this was the part that was really the house. It's kind of dark. I hope it shows okay. Here's another dog.
Ooh, what a cutie.
Yes. Dog crates.
Yep.
And I have a really large kitchen, which is quite unusual. Um, but I have a nice large kitchen here.
Wow,
And
just so much room
my
in this
genset, yeah.
house.
And there's another one of my paintings. Can you see that on the wall?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Love it.
And here's my studio with all
So
my art supplies. Again, it's a mess, Ray. I would
that's
have cleaned up
you
if
look
I'd
like a
known.
true artist. That's a true artist studio right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's what I hear. That I'm not the only one who's messy like that. So here we go out into the garden.
So all of the okay, you got that beautiful
I had this
little
waterfall
pond
built.
and wow. Okay, so you
Yeah,
had that built.
yeah.
Okay.
And all the plants are things that I brought in. There was no grass here. There was no,
So you planted the grass.
yes.
Okay. Wow. And the plant
Here's
and
my
that
Buddha.
I love it. What is that Buddha made out of?
It is it's really heavy, I'll tell you that.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah. Okay.
It's not bronze, but well, maybe it is bronze. I don't know.
No,
Some
it's
kind of metal.
okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the grass, you know how they plant grass here
Mm.
in the old days. I don't know if they do it that way now, but when I moved in here, and that was in about 23 years ago, I moved in here.
Okay.
And they would go on their motorcycle and find a place where there's grass, and they just dig it all up. And then they
Uh-huh.
come back here and plant it blade by blade by blade.
Wow.
Yeah. We didn't have sod in those days. I think now you can find sod.
Is it easy to keep the grass growing and looking that good there?
Well, you have to cut it about every 2 days. I mean, it grows so fast.
Uh-huh.
I'm exaggerating, obviously. It's
Sure.
not every 2 days, but no, it's easy to keep. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty
So that
easy.
this is your driveway?
Yeah, that's my front gate. I made a big, tall thing so people couldn't look over and see my dogs. And
So
pre
you built that front gate or had somebody
yes,
build it.
I had
Okay.
it done. Yeah.
That is just such a spectacular driveway and front gate.
Yeah, this driveway now you see it's all these river stones,
Yes.
river rocks, whatever. It wasn't that way here when I moved
So
in.
so you had that done too.
Oh, I had everything done here. You see that
Wow.
upstairs above the
Yes.
garage? I
Yeah.
built that. I built that. I didn't build it, obviously. I
Right.
had that built. Um, and
Wow. What's up there in the above? Is that a extra sleeping space or?
well, it is now, yeah.
Okay.
Um, it's it was an office space at one time, but I didn't like going up to the office on a daily basis because it felt like I was going to work.
Yeah.
I prefer having my workspace right down, right by my bed, so that I don't feel like I have to go to a job every day.
Yeah. Well, you're
So,
you're absolutely a true artist because you can just see it in the vision of how you created this place. I don't know many people that can pull this off and do what you did, and do it as beautifully as you've done it. It's just tremendous. Um, and I'm guessing that your friends that do come and visit, they must be in awe when they check this place out.
well, people do like it. And they
Uh,
say, well, I can see why you stayed.
yes. Yeah.
So,
So, well, thank you for sharing that, Kate. That was a wonderful tour. But we know you're a tour guide and you're really good at this stuff. So, but now so I mean, you live in Yogyakarta
yeah,
in this amazing place that you created, um, and you rent it. How much do you
yes.
pay per month to rent this place?
When you rent a place, you pay for the whole rental period. So if
Hmm.
you rent for 2 years, you pay all 2 years up front.
Okay.
You don't pay every month. There are a few places where you can get that monthly payment. But in general, when someone's renting a house, you pay for the whole rental period up front.
Okay.
And so I'm paid up until January 2028.
Okay.
And when it renews, we've already talked about it. It will go up to 30 million a year.
Hmm.
So what is 30 million? I think that's about $1,800 a year
Okay.
divided by 12.
That's
Means,
150.
yep, that's right.
You pay a whole $150 for that
Yeah.
majestic, beautiful, stunning place.
I put a lot of money in here. Don't think it's just
Well, we can tell. Yeah, you
I put a
certainly
lot of money
did.
in here. So um that has helped keep the rent down.
Over the years, you've been there how many years now in this house?
23 years, the
How
longest
much?
ever lived anywhere.
I would never leave that place.
Yeah,
Even I can tell like how the place is just beautiful. Even even if it didn't have all those touches that you added, I could see what you mean. When you first look at a space like that, I would
yeah,
go, I could see the potential in this beautiful
that's
place.
right. Yeah.
You know, it's just gorgeous, the layout of this place. So how much would you say over the course of 23 years you invested in how much did you put into it? Would you say?
Oh, that's a hard call.
Yeah.
I, when I built the second story above the garage, I think that cost me about $3,000
Okay.
to build that.
Yeah.
Um, it's at least as big as this room that I'm in right now. It's
Okay.
it's got a one when you first go, it's got a bathroom and it's got a sitting area, and then it's got a place for a bed, and then at the other end it's got a work area for your computer and so forth.
Hmm.
So it's very large, and I think that that's probably what it cost me. But I'm not one who I don't keep track of stuff like
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only guessing that that's what it cost me. I have no real idea
Yeah.
about money I've put in here. What did that waterfall cost me to put in? I think it cost like a couple of $100 to put it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm guessing
Equivalent.
labor is very, very affordable there.
Yes, right.
You can really turn a place into something as magical as what you have for not a tremendous amount of money,
That's
like
right.
like what it would cost in the US here or
That's right.
Chicago,
Yeah, yeah.
especially Chicago. It's climbed up. Well, Kate, let me ask you this. So you pay 150 a month to live in this place. You pay it up front, so it's $1,800 a year. You paid 2 years in advance. You're looking at 3,600 that you did that, and you're good. You don't have to pay anything for a couple years. Do you? So what? do you pay for utilities there? Let's kind of break down these costs for the viewers that are
Okay,
watching.
yeah. The utilities, now the electricity is, I think, I have a friend in California who says, that's expensive. I can't believe you pay that much. But my utilities each month are about 1.2 million. That is about $72 a month.
Okay. And what does that include? What is electric and water and
Water, I don't pay. I have two wells on my
okay.
property.
Okay.
And if I had to live in the city and had city water, I don't know even if they have to pay for water or
Okay.
if it just comes. Anyhow, it's basically electricity.
Okay.
Yeah. And my other big expense is my internet bill,
Mm-hmm.
which includes a phone, my Wi-Fi, and that is about $35 a month.
For your cell and Wi-Fi.
Cell and Wi-Fi and internet
Okay.
altogether. My cable, my TV.
Oh, you got the cable too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
So
that
you're
includes everything.
okay. So, all right, you're a little over 100 now in your utilities. How about do you have to pay for drinking water?
No. Oh, I no, here's what I do. Everyone in Indonesia boils their water.
Okay.
The poorest of the poor boil their water. Everybody does. And so I drink boiled water.
Okay.
Um, at one point I was getting uh those big, like things of water. And those cost like a huge one costs about 70 cents, I think.
Okay.
And actually, we do still get that every once in a while, and it's used. My housekeeper's husband seems to prefer that water, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So that's water that we buy, but it's cheap, dirt cheap.
Yeah. Okay. And how about groceries? How much do you think you spend per month to feed yourself?
Okay, I give Sunny, my housekeeper, Sunny, I give her 1 million. That's about $65, $70 a week. And it includes me, it includes her and her husband. Another lady comes in, and that lady, we give her food to take home to feed herself and her husband. So basically, we're feeding 2, 4, 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I give her that $70 a month. Um, sorry, a week. And she gets just about everything. I once a month will go and do a little shopping for things that I want that are like imported items or whatever. And
Yeah.
I might spend another couple of hundred for myself, basically,
Okay. So 280 per month, that's 70
for five
time.
people.
Yeah, for 5 people, that would feed everybody. You wouldn't, even if you didn't go get the extra things that you needed, you're
Yeah,
all five are living on $280 with no issue.
yeah, right.
Wow. Okay, so one person living in Indonesia could easily probably live on what, $100 easy a month
Yes, yeah. Well, that's if they're doing their own cooking.
if they're
But
doing their own cooking.
eating
Yes.
out, eating out is about as cheap as cooking. So,
Yeah. So how much is a restaurant meal at a local, just a typical, restaurant out there? What are you going to pay for a meal?
well, if you're going to, a warung, it's like a roadside cafe kind of thing. Um, let's say you could go for $2. Um, the other day, a friend and I went to a very nice restaurant, an expensive restaurant, and ate. Um, and we had appetizers, and the food was really, really good. Imported beef, and he had some kind of fish. Be, I forget anyhow. And dessert and drinks and so forth. And he paid for that, but he told me it was about $24, the equivalent of about $24 at an expensive restaurant. So,
Okay.
yeah, you're going from, that's for two people,
Right.
and appetizers, main course, dessert, drinking. No alcohol. We didn't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
We have, but so you can go anywhere from like just a couple of bucks for um a nice meal at a very cheap place
Yeah.
up to this place, which was $24 for two, $12 each. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So are there like cafes around there where you could sit outside or just go inside and they're just kind of like these typical restaurants where you can get a $2, $3 dish of food?
yeah, basically.
Okay.
I'm trying to think how much I paid for one I went to. By the way, did you know that Indonesia has more coffee shops than any other country in the world?
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
And you'll see the video. If you keep watching my videos, you'll see that video up. I think it's this Saturday, something. Anyhow, it's coming up
Okay.
very soon.
What is your YouTube channel? Tell everybody. We'll do this at the end too, so everybody knows and can follow
Well.
you.
The one that I do about Indonesia is Kate Gypsy, one word.
Kate Gypsy on YouTube.
Yeah. And the other one that I'm doing, which is I'm talking more about how to live your best life, whether it's uh, no matter what whether you're retired or not, how
Yeah.
to look at life in a positive way. And that's Kate's Wandering Ideas.
Kate's Wandering Ideas, and we'll put those both in the description below for the
Thank you.
people to check it out.
Yeah, Kate's Wandering Ideas is the one I'm really trying to
I
promote
want to
right.
go see the one about the jealous girl in Jakarta.
Vicky's Revenge.
You got me hooked. I
Uh,
gotta go watch the Vicky's Revenge video now. Um, all right, so restaurants are really affordable. Do you go out that much to eat, or do you eat pretty much at home?
well, because Sunny is probably one of the best cooks in Indonesia, in my opinion, I don't go out very often. You
Okay.
know, I'm really quite an introvert. And so and I have such a nice big place, and I've got these wonderful six doggies. I'm so happy just staying here. I don't
Yeah.
go out much at all anyhow, no matter what. I'm not a joiner. Um, I know people want to join Toastmasters or Lions Club or different things like that here, but that's just not me. I'm really quite an introvert, and um, I choose not to have a social life. Uh,
Gotcha.
th- there are expat communities here, and but and my cook is so good that there's just no reason to go out and eat except for once in a while, just for fun.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you have a live-in person, this
Husband and wife.
husband and wife. Okay.
Living.
All right. And so they're from Indonesia. Do
Yeah,
you pay them per month and then they do some
right.
work? Is that what they do or and cook?
Yeah. The wife, she does cooking and bathing the dogs and cooking dog food for the dogs and um a variety of things. She massages me when my knee hurts me. She'll
Hmm.
massage my knee and so forth. And her husband does all the work outside, or if I need the walls painted, he'll do that.
Okay.
And he just does whatever I need done. He's like a handyman.
Okay.
So just not a gardener, but a handyman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Kate, do you speak the language?
I do.
So you're fluent in is Indonesian?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm conversational. If I had to go to, a lecture of some sort, I might have trouble
Okay.
because the language is different. Although, when my dogs had puppies and I wanted to get their papers here, I had to go to a day-long seminar about taking care of dogs.
Hmm.
And it was all in Indonesian. And I was very happy with myself. I understood it all. Now, of course,
Wow.
it was a topic that I already knew about.
Yes.
So that makes it, but if I had to read a textbook, then I would be with a dictionary looking up every second word, I think.
Yeah.
So conversationally, I'm done. Yeah, I'm good.
But you're the real deal. I mean, when you think about most expats that live in a country, especially when they go retire in a country, a lot of them they don't speak the language at all. And many
Right.
it's challenging for them to learn the language because they're not young anymore. It's just it's
Yeah.
we're not sponges when we're older. So I mean,
Yeah.
how many people do you find and have you met that are from, somewhere else that live in Indonesia that have learned the language? I bet there's not many.
Well, it's interesting. I have this friend that I went to lunch with the other day. He's American and he's learning Indonesian. We have a couple of language schools here that teach Westerners Indonesian.
Okay.
And, and they do a very good job, I might say. Um, and he's learning Indonesian. And I know another guy who's from the States, Jim, who is living here now in Yogyakarta, and he has learned Indonesian. And Indonesian is not a real difficult language to learn the basics
Hmm.
of. And
Okay.
they don't use some, squirrely language alphabet. It's
Hmm.
ABC.
Okay.
I didn't know a word of Indonesian when I came here.
Hmm.
And I just started memorizing sentences basically until they overlapped.
Yep.
And I never took a course. I never got a book on how to learn Indonesian. I didn't do any of that. I just started doing it the way you do when you're a child, when you're
Yeah.
learning English.
Yeah.
So
Your friends that you mentioned, the two guys, are how old are they?
they're both retired age.
Okay. So
So,
how did they find Jakarta? It's such an off the beaten path place that I'm just
you
like,
know, well, it's the second most popular tourist destination in Indonesia.
it is. After
Bali is
Ba
number one. Yeah,
and Jakarta is number two.
yeah, yeah.
But you know what? People that don't know anything about Indonesia, they know Bali and they don't know anything beyond it.
And they don't even know Bali is in Indonesia.
A lot of people, right? Yeah.
That's right. So
Yes. So that's a big miss. Yeah, they don't know
people
it.
who come here to work end up in Jakarta.
Right.
But for tourism, we have the largest Buddhist temple in the world here in Jogja, or
Hmm.
Buddha. And we have one of the main Hindu temple complexes here, Prambanan, here in Jogja.
Okay.
They were both built in the 8th and 9th centuries.
Hmm.
And so they are main draws.
Do you think that the influence of those two complexes make it a very peaceful place to live and be?
I don't think it's because of those complexes, no.
No.
This is a big university city.
Okay.
The main university here is UGM, Universitas Gadjah Mada. And it's one of the top one of the top universities in all of Indonesia.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have like about 100 small universities here. Um, I don't think we would call them a university in the States. We would say it's a college, you
Hmm.
know. But
Yeah.
we have a big Christian college here,
Okay.
university. So it's I thought of it as being like when in the States, I think of university towns as being kind of peaceful,
Hmm.
places. Yeah, that's how it was when I first came here, I think. That's how I felt. I
Yeah.
don't know. But it's become very, about 10 or 15 years ago, someone said to me, they're building 5 new 5-star hotels here. And I said, who in the world is going to stay at 5 new 5-star hotels? We don't have
Hmm.
much tour. Well, we do. Those hotels are constantly being used. So
Wow.
It's a big tourist center. Yeah.
And they come for the temples.
Yeah, they do. That's pretty much the reason why they would come here.
So there's no beach there.
No.
How far are you from the beach? So if somebody wants to go to like, you think of Bali, you think of Indonesia, spectacular beaches. And I'm thinking college town kids, they want to do a road trip to the beach. Can you do that from where you're at?
No.
You can't. Okay.
From Jogja to the South Sea coast is about an hour's drive,
Okay.
but you can't go swimming there.
Oh,
The tides and everything, it's considered very dangerous there to go
okay.
swim. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So nobody goes swimming out there.
not in a not in the ocean. In a pool.
In a
In a
pool.
swimming pool.
Is it pretty out there at the beach?
It's very different. It's a feeling that you get when you're there. It feels different. It doesn't feel like a calm beach. It feels like you feel some energy. You know, the volcano that I live on is Mount Merapi,
Mm-hmm.
Merapi,
Mm-hmm.
Merapi. And they say the myths about it, and you can find that on my channel also, the information about this story, that the Mount Merapi is connected to the Queen of the South Sea. And when he erupts, it's a very sexual kind of myth, that
Mm-hmm.
he he's connecting with the Queen of the South Sea. And so when you go to that coast south of here, it's very, I don't know, it's just a different feeling. The waves and the ocean, it's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the beaches in Bali, no.
So it doesn't feel calm or almost even relaxing. It's just a different kind of
Yeah, it's
vibe.
a different kind of feeling. People do go down there to spend time on the beach,
Yeah.
but it's a spiritual kind of thing, people say. And it's been years since I've been down there. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I can't tell you for sure how things have changed, whether
And
there's
that's an hour away from you.
an hour from the center of the city. I'm an hour north of the city.
Okay. So now you said you live on a volcano.
Yes.
So is it an active volcano?
It is one of the most active volcanoes in the world.
Okay. So, and you seem like you're really happy and proud to say that.
Okay.
You're very enthusiastic about living it. That's one of the things that I get comments about all the time. Yeah, but there's volcanoes. You don't want to go there. There's earthquakes. You don't want to go there. People comment like that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're proud to be living on an active volcano.
Yes, I live up the coast, up the slope of this volcano. And it's been erupting recently. It is always letting off a little, you know, and that's good because then it won't
Yes.
blow. It won't blow. However, in 2010, it blew. And they say that was a 100-year event. I
Hmm.
had to evacuate from my house. Now,
So wait a minute. So you were living there when it blew in 2010,
yes, yeah,
but did you evacuate after it blew or before?
it was starting to blow, I guess. It blew for like 2 days, but we were given instructions I got a midnight call from a
Hmm.
friend saying, you got to get out of there now. A government has issued an order that you have to evacuate. And I live in a safe zone. Um, I live directly north of Jogja and directly south of the opening of the volcano, the top. And the mystics of Java say that the volcano will never erupt and cover Jogja. And it never has. And
Interesting.
it never does. Now it's easy to see. When you look at the volcano, you can see where the opening is. It's to the southwest and the southeast.
Hmm.
And so when it erupts, everything goes southeast and southwest. So
Hmm.
what we have here is a red zone, a zone that if you're looking for a place to rent and you're coming up this way, you have to ask, is this a red zone or a green zone? because where I live, it's a green zone. It's safe here.
Okay.
And if you're in one of the other zones that's further to the southeast or southwest, you might have to be worried. But um, but yeah, I had to evacuate for about 18 days
Wow.
at that time. And we came here every day. We had to go by the roads up here were blocked by the police, but we found little roads that they call them jalan tikus. That's
Mm-hmm.
rodent streets. That
Mm-hmm.
you, that's what they're called. These little. So we'd come up because we had to clean the ash. We got ash, but we did
Yes.
not get any eruption. But we got a lot of ash, and we
Okay.
had to clean everything every day, or else your roof would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Things like that. So
Wow. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a green zone, a safe area on a active volcano. See,
yeah, yeah,
I learned something tonight that you can
yeah.
actually go live on an active volcano if you
Yes.
live in the green zone. I don't think most of the people watching or even me would do that, Kate. So you have incredible courage.
Nah.
People are going, they're itching their head going, now I see why it's $150 a month.
I live in a safe zone. When your number's up, it's up,
I agree.
no matter where you're
You
at.
don't want to know what you're living your best life, and you've
Absolutely.
turned it into something absolutely magical. So that's all that matters. And quite honestly, if you can live near a volcano and experience that and see the majestic that just the how majestic a volcano is, and staring at that in a horizon is just spectacular.
Yeah, right, right.
It's
Yeah,
just you are in awe. I'm in
yeah.
awe of volcanoes. And I just love to look at them. And I hear you. Okay, so when you say, Kate, that you're an hour away, you get around. How do you get around Yogyakarta? What do you do for transportation? Do you have a
Well,
vehicle or a scooter?
I used to have a vehicle, yeah. And I realized that I don't go out very often. And so why should I have the expense of a car? So we have what is the same thing as Uber.
Okay.
Here there are two companies. One is called GoCar and one is called Grab.
Yeah.
I use GoCar all the time.
Okay.
However, when you're using GoCar frequently, you'll eventually get a driver who says, you can contact me directly. And so the other day I was gone from 9:30 until let's say around 4:30. And I paid him. He went with me all day. He goes in the grocery store with me, pushes my cart around, picks things up for me. He just helps me in all kinds of ways. He's
Yes.
wonderful. Not all drivers are that way, but
Hmm.
he is wonderful. This one speaks English. It's not usual, but he speaks very good English. And so I paid him 500,000 for a full day, really. And that is $35.
$35 for the whole day, and he's assisting and helping and coming in, and he'll drive you all over the place for 35 bucks for the entire day.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
When I use him for half a day, I give him usually about 15, $18,
Yeah.
depending. Yeah.
Okay. So just going across town and back is what, a couple bucks, two, $3?
Oh, if I want to, let's say from where I'm at, because I'm way out of town.
Okay.
So let's say if I want to go to the mall, it'll be about 100,000 rupiah, which is $7.
$7. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got rid of your vehicle because it's so affordable to just
Yeah.
grab one
And
of these.
because I don't go out that often,
Hmm.
I go out once or twice a month to do some shopping for myself or to have lunch with a friend or something. But I'm happy where I'm at, and as I said, I'm a big introvert. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm pretty extreme. People say, "Well, how can you do YouTube videos?" I said, "Well, I'm just talking to the camera."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's okay to be an introvert when you're doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, there's actors that are very
That's right.
introverted and deal with agoraphobia. Some are social phobic, and
Yeah.
are, some are even reclusive in their own rights, and they can get on stage and perform
That's
and
right.
be incredible.
Yeah,
So it's artists are minds work a little bit differently. Um,
yeah, and
super creative people, and
yeah,
so yeah, I could definitely can relate to that. Um, Healthcare. Everybody's always interested about healthcare. And what do you do for healthcare? You've been there for quite a long time.
yeah. I I had cancer about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I have Indonesian health insurance. It's BPJS, and I pay for that every month, and it's about
Okay.
$11.
11 per month.
Yeah, for my health care. So I had cancer. I had surgery where they had to cut part of my ear off, and they took skin from my thigh, where I have plenty of skin, and used it to reform my ear. Okay, so I had that surgery, and then I had 25 radiation treatments after that. What did I pay for all those things? Nothing,
Because the,
nothing.
the insurance covered it all.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
how do you categorize the care that you
The care
receive?
was wonderful. The care here is people actually, the doctors actually pay attention to you and talk to you and spend time with you. It's nothing like in the US. I've been in the hospital in the States, and this is totally different here. Um, I, it's very different. Indonesians are extremely caring people.
Yeah.
They are just, I can't even emphasize that enough. They are extremely caring people. I've had like a friend who's had some medical problems. He said he couldn't believe. He mentioned it to the woman that was driving him places. And all of a sudden he said she became his caretaker and wouldn't let him, she take him places to the doctor and take and get his food for him. And Indonesians are just the most caring people you could ever want in the world.
Yeah.
And we have modern equipment and so on. So, I mean, like when I went in for the radiation treatments, I had no idea what to expect. But it's a modern type of, you know, thing that, and when you have scans here, MRIs and CT scans, and so we've got it all.
Yeah.
And um, so it's very, very, I was extremely impressed. Let's put it that way. Now, if I had to have brain surgery, mm, I might go home for that.
Yeah.
I might think, well, I don't know. That's a little bit unusual kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had gallbladder surgery here many years ago, and they were astounded at the size of my gallstones. And they put them in a little plastic bottle and set them by my bed. And nurses and doctors were coming by all, all day while I was there to see these gallstones that were so huge. So now they all think Westerners must have big stones.
And you're like going, it's the Chicago style pizza, the deep dish pizza. I come from Chicago. That's what
Yeah.
we do. We have deep dish pizza.
And the city of the big shoulders. Yeah. Well, we got big gallstones.
So can anybody get on the insurance that you're on if they move to Indonesia?
Okay, that's a very good question. You have to have um not a visitor's visa.
Okay.
You have to have a temporary residence visa or
Okay.
more. Yeah.
Or more. Okay. And that's one thing we didn't discuss. Do you know much about the visas and what the income requirements are these days?
Well, they've changed,
I know. Yeah.
In November of 2024,
Hmm.
they made some big changes on the visa situation. And I always recommend people go to letsmoveindonesia.com,
Okay.
and they can get that. There's a very good explanation of all the different kinds of visas that you can have now at that website, letsmoveindonesia.com.
Okay.
Let's Move Indonesia is all one word. And so I just recommend that people go there to look at what the visa situation is. My visa is now in renewal. I've had so many different visas over the years because when I was teaching, it was one thing and so forth. So my visa renewal, I just went into immigration 2 days ago so they could take my photo and sign. I had to sign. And um, it'll be ready next week. And it is for the rest of my life.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'll never have to renew my visa again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you could probably apply for a passport now or
No,
citizenship.
no,
No?
well, I don't want to, they don't recognize dual citizenship in Indonesia.
Oh,
So
I see.
not will, as much as I dislike what's going on in America these days, I'm not willing to give up my American citizenship.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to revoke.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty much everything that so for the viewers watching, the people considering after watching this, thinking, I want to go check out Indonesia. Is there anything else that you can share with them for the viewers thinking about potentially living there or retiring there?
Well, it's a great place to retire. I'm I will say this online on the recording. I'm not a big fan of Bali, but it's a wonderful place. You have a lot of places, a lot of English spoken there if you want to go to Bali, if that's a consideration that you need. And there's a lot of expats in Bali. I'm not a fan because I think it's too touristy, but we
Hmm.
have lots of small towns or small cities, let's say. Jogja isn't a small town, it's a city. But um, wherever you want to go or would live and find a place to live, you're going to find Indonesians who will help you no matter what. And so you find some, and a lot of Indonesians do speak English. So you find some Indonesians who can speak English and make friends with them and get their advice. When you need to find paint for something you want to paint in your walls in your house or whatever, you ask that person. I had a person named Susie who I asked everything about. I mean, when I moved to Jogja, I didn't know anything about Jogja because I'd been living in Jakarta for so long. Susie, whenever I needed anything, I asked her, where is such and such? Where can I buy whatever it was I needed? So you find some Indonesians that make friends with, and believe me, they will go out of their ways. Sometimes you're in a store and they don't have what you want, and they say, well, it's right down here. Just a minute. I'll leave my son here and I'll take you where that store is and show you where you can get that.
Mm.
They're Indonesians.
Yeah. Well, that's the best way to end because it's just you living in a beautiful place with beautiful people. And I just want to say thanks again, Kate, for sharing this with all of us. This has been fantastic.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.